Hi everyone, I am sharing this video today to help GCSE students who are revising for their exams coming up this year in 2022 for their biology exam in particular. So the idea behind this session is to make sure that you are comfortable with the topics that are going to be coming up, and I want to give you some tips and tricks to help you. I'm going to be sharing a series of videos this week for you to use this Easter holidays that you have now to get as much done as possible and make sure that you are comfortable with your GCSE exams. Okay, so welcome. I am a science teacher. I've been teaching now since 2016, and I think it's really important that as a teacher I can share with you these tips and tricks to make sure that you are revising just what you need to and not things that you don't need to. So this week, I said I'm going to be sharing resources, things that you need to know for this year's GCSE, where to go for great resources, why you should be using past papers, why you need a timetable for your revision to make sure that you're doing it all properly, how to revise effectively, and then I'm going to do some biology revision with you as well. So today I'm going to be uploading a video about how to prep for specifically this year's exams. On Tuesday, I'm going to be sharing information on where to go for resources. Wednesday, I'm going to be doing some revision tips. And then Thursday, we're going to get in and do some revision. Okay then, so what would you need for these sessions? You're not going to need much, you'll just need a pen and paper. It'd be really useful if you know your exam board, and just be ready to learn. So like I said, let me move me over the way here. So knowing your exam board is really important because as you are preparing for your exams, you need to know which content it is that you're going to be revising, and also the types of questions that they're likely to ask in their exams. You can download past papers to look at this and get an idea of, what type of questions do they favour, how much of the paper is math skills, how much of it is literacy based. All of these things you can find out once you know which exam board it is that you're using. Now, I use AQA in my school. I know it's a really popular exam board, and so my examples today that I'm going to go through are going to be AQA based, but you can find the same information. It doesn't matter which exam board it is that you're using. It could be WJC if you're a student in Wales, could be OCR, could be Edexcel. There's different ones out there. Okay, so why is this so important? I'm going to move myself out of the way again. The topics this year have been released. They've been cut down because of COVID-19. So because so much learning was lost over the last few years due to lockdowns and isolating and things like that, they have decided to narrow the topics that are going to be taught. And I'm going to be going through that today with these pieces of paper here. And this is really important for us as teachers sharing it with you as students, is that you don't want to revise content that is not going to be on the exam. And we know exactly what is going to be on the exam now, so let's focus on that revision. You have less to do because of this. That's the good news, okay, is that you're going to have less revising to do overall because of these topics being cut down. Okay then, so what should you be doing after we have finished today's session? You need to make sure that you know what exam board your school is using. It will probably be on your school website. You can ask your teacher if you're not sure. You need to download the 2022 topic lists. Make sure you have done like I have done here, and you have looked through them, highlighting the information of what you do need to know and what you don't need to know. You can also then assess your strengths and weaknesses to make sure that you're focusing on your weaknesses and not revising the stuff that you already really know well. We can then split these topics into bite-sized chunks, and I'm going to help you do this over this week to make a revision timetable. You need to sort of make it logical, and I'll run through why in a second with the topics that you do have to revise for. Now, come back again and get some more ideas in tomorrow's session when I'm going to talk about how to find great online resources which are going to help you revise. Okay, so let's quickly run through some of the topics for this year's Biology Paper 1 and Paper 2 Combined Science. Again, if you're doing triple science, you will need to double check what you're doing for that. I am sharing these ones because this is what majority of students are using, but it might not be what you are using. So please make sure you are looking at the paper you are sitting, because it could be different information. Another thing to be mindful of is that actually, if I compare paper 1, foundation and higher, it's different content. So if you're doing the foundation paper, you need to revise different content than if you're sitting the higher paper. So this is important information for you to be aware of. So paper 1 foundation is broken down into 4 main topics that you need to know. You have cell division from B1, you've got animal tissues, organs and organ systems from B2, communicable diseases from B3, and photosynthesis from B4. It also has, and I've highlighted them, so the topics in green are the ones that will be included, and pink is what's not, it's out, it's not in the paper. And I think what's really interesting here is that it says that osmosis and active transport are not being assessed. However, that makes me think diffusion will be, because they haven't specifically mentioned that. And I would say it's probably going to come up in the section about animal tissues and organ systems, because we learn about diffusion in the lungs and in the small intestine when we're learning about gas exchange and we're learning about the absorption of nutrients into the blood. So I would say that that's a really important place to start. Now, cell division is the only part from B1 that's being included, which makes me think that you need to have a really good understanding of mitosis and the cell cycle. And you might even have to know some of the maths behind calculating how many cells are in a different stage of the cycle. However, I would think that's a skill that would be mostly tested in the higher paper, not the foundation. Now, there are a couple of required practicals that are also going to be included that you will be assessed on, and that includes from B1, the microscopy practical. There will definitely be math skills involved here around calculating magnification or calculating the real size of the object. So make sure you know that equation inside out and you're really comfortable with it, because I guarantee you that there will be a question including that equation. They might give you the equation in the paper, but you still need to know how to use it and how to rearrange it, how to convert units and all that sort of thing. So make sure you're practicing that beforehand. Now, you also need to know the food tests. This comes up in B2 organisation when we're talking about the digestive system. So that is really important that you know the different reagents involved and you know what they test for, what a positive test looks like. So you know if you've tested let's say you've got some bread and you add iodine, you're expecting the colour to change from orange to blue-black. That would be a positive test result for starch. So there you need to know the full method and the expected results. Now, the other practical that comes up is from B4, and it is the required practical calculating the effect, or investigating, sorry, the effect of light on the rate of photosynthesis. This is a trickier method to remember, and you will need to remember it, and you will need to know the expected results. So make sure you're comfortable with all of that for that practical, but you don't have to do the rest of them. So that's the nice thing about having these topic lists, is that you know you have 3 to do to make sure you really know the method, you know the results, you know how to write up an accurate method for it really well. It's only 3 to remember, so that's great. Now, paper 2, before I move on to paper 2, the higher paper does have some differences for paper 1. So for instance, the microscopy practical is not included, and instead you've got the pH on enzymes practical that is being tested. So the effect of pH on amylase, that is the experiment that you need to remember instead of microscopy if you are sitting higher paper biology. And you also don't have communicable diseases, that's completely out, but you still have cell division, photosynthesis, and organs and organ systems. So make sure you know those. Okay, so like I said, paper 2. Now, quite a lot has been took out of this paper. So let me just show you the foundation paper. Look how much I have in pink here. So many topics have been scrapped from this paper. It is really short what is actually being assessed. So that's really good news for us, because it means that we can focus our revision and make sure we are maximizing the amount of marks we get correct in this paper. So you need to know hormonal control in humans. You need to know about reproduction. If you're doing foundation, this is now. Adaptation, interdependence and competition, and organization of an ecosystem. So those are the only topics you need to know. And there is one required practical that you need for this one, which is the ecology practical, where you go out sampling with quadrats and transect lines and things like that to sort of look at the population sizes within a given area. So those are the ones that you need to know for this one. And so much is out, so much of genetics. evolution, all of that has been scrapped. So really, really short paper compared to what it normally would be. Now higher, the required practical is the same, so that's good news. And then the only thing that is really different about the higher paper is that reproduction has been left out, as has adaptations, interdependence and competition. And instead you've got the biodiversity and the effect of human interaction on an ecosystem. This is all about things like human impacts on ecosystems in terms of bioaccumulation, toxins in the environment, and things like that. So that is in there instead. And yeah, so those are the papers if you are sitting AQA combined trilogy papers. If you are doing a different exam board, then I recommend you go onto their website, you find this equivalent, you download and print it, and you highlight it like I have done. I have shared these on my TikTok account, so you can go and have a look at those if you want to. I've run through these as well. And again, it is completely depending on your exam board, which content you're going to be covering, but this is what you're covering for higher and foundation biology paper 1 and paper 2 for the combined science AQA spec. And that's it from me right now. So I have got here, do you have any questions? But obviously you can leave those in the comments and I will get back to you as soon as possible. And I hope that you are ready for your exams and that you are ready to keep practicing and learning this week with me. And we are going to do a great job in these exams. So keep it up, guys. I'll see you soon.